Hello and welcome to the Bald and Beardiful. I'm Bryce.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Bald.
Hey, what's good? I'm Beardiful. Yeah.
Having fun? Having fun
Oh
yet?
yeah. Oh
Always?
yeah. Tons of fun. Let's get more fun for me now.
Yeah, well, it's getting more fun for both of us. It's like we don't want this to go. We don't want it to be obvious how this is going to end. It can't be obvious, so we got to make it interesting. And it's interesting in more ways than one. For anyone who hasn't visited our channel before, we're talking about Cover 5. And more specifically, how we play against each other in Cover 5. If you haven't played Cover 5 before, listen to a different episode where we describe it all because I'm not doing it right now. But right now, I'm still ahead, even though I think I've lost 3 of the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'm bowling a turkey so far, coming into
Yeah.
the home stretch.
Yeah, coming to the home stretch, you've been on a good run, but then again, I was on a good run, which is how I got ahead in the first place. So we'll see how it comes out.
Well, December football is always interesting too. So like
It might as well be preseason because you just don't know what's going to happen. Yeah,
there's a lot that's up in the air. Yeah, that you have to account for.
You start getting used to how teams play, and then they switch up their tactics, and then you're like, oh, well, they're not playing as bad as they were, in the first few games, and now you got to kind of reconstruct your mind about how things are going to happen. So I think I need to be picking. I need a different method of picking. I haven't done it yet. What you're seeing is a rush draft for sure for this coming week, but we'll get to that later.
So you're not picking which team would look better as a unicorn?
Oh yeah, that's a shout out to the Jimbo and Jackie show. No, I'm not going that way.
So what is your methodology? Let's hear it. I want to know what the madness is behind the whatever.
The method to my madness is generally has honestly, and I'm kind of sad to say this, is I do play favorites depending on how they've been playing in the past. So for a while there, as you've seen, I pick a lot of Las Vegas because I know they're doing well this season, but there gets a time where, okay, they had a bad game. Let's go with them again next week. They had another bad game. Well, do I pick them again? Yeah, okay, go with them. Another bad game. Like, oh, good God, I'm sticking with Las Vegas and I shouldn't be anymore. So it's like it's a bit of favoritism.
I mean, that's pretty standard for Las Vegas, though, right? They let you win a little bit until you get comfortable, and then they take all your money. So that's par for the course.
Well, yeah, but then you'll have teams like the Saints who will absolutely destroy a good team like Tampa Bay, and then when it comes to playing Atlanta, who did absolutely garbage in the first 5 games of the season, will let them come back in the spread a little bit. I mean, and like, okay, like I'm expecting decent points out of this game, and they're like, meh, we don't need to try as hard. And I mean, breeze or no breeze, they still did really well. So I don't know.
Positive points for sure. Yeah, I stopped reading into the wins are really because I stopped really getting super granular with like trends and stats and stuff. That was what was like killing me. I was getting like really granular with the numbers and making some picks that were like, oh, I'm going to take this because of the value, because of the trend, because the numbers are there. The numbers are there, so I'll pick it for the upside if the trend continues. And it just came back to bite me. And so I've stopped going so deep in my analytics, and it seems to be working out.
I'm going to be looking at some updates on game day on Sunday because I'm definitely not picking Thursday night this week. But I'm hoping that if I can mix up my method a little bit and maybe make some better choices, I guess we'll see.
All right.
So let's I think we should kind of go into how we did last week. And I mean, obviously, I mean, not obviously yet, but when you see it, I've been doing a little better over the weeks.
Well, before we go into the picks and stuff, you went to Reno this last weekend.
I didn't hear a word you just said. What?
You went to Reno this last weekend.
What about it?
You're not going to talk about it?
No. I wasn't. That's why I said let's go to our picks.
All right, shame. What was his name?
Eric and Jillian, like the friends I went to go hang out with. Like, what do you want? Shout out to my fun friends, because you were supposed to come to Reno like last month or something with me, and we were supposed to hang out, but stuff happens.
Yeah, life happens, and then I almost died. So there's that.
The key word is almost. You're fine. Get over it.
But no. Shout out to Eric. Team Wuhan Labs is no longer is not last place on the season.
Who is? Oh yeah, because
Andy dropped down to last place.
But by sheer coincidence, yeah. For some reason, his team decides to play last week, and a normally like 60 to 80 point team scored 130 on me. I mean, it didn't matter. I was making the playoffs no matter what. He really took that time to be like, you know what? I don't want to go out like this. Wham! And just
So he was last place all season long. Manages to pull it out in the very end. So that's
he's still in that. So in our fantasy league, we have 10 people, and the last 4 weeks go into the either the playoffs or the loser bracket. The loser bracket, I don't want to leave them out, so we came up with a loser necklace for the absolute worst player of the loser bracket. So he is still in that bottom 2 of the bottom 4. So he's still down there. He can.
He's still playing for the necklace.
He can still lose it, but so is Andy, who's playing with them. I believe is our dad in that? I think our dad's in that. And then who's the 4th? I think because it's not ground effect, is it?
It would be Pete. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, because I beat Pete, so I think I forced him down. If it's 4.
Yeah, because El Conquistador is in the playoffs with us. Then I think it's Mike. It's Mike and the Beers who are in the middle.
No, you know what? It's not Pete. It's I think it's Live Die Defeat.
That's Andy who's in the who's
the bottom. No, then who's the other one? Is it?
It's the Beers.
It has to be Ken then. It has to be. Ken, then.
Yeah. So those two are in the middle, and they're safe. They're safe from winning anything at all, good or bad. But Pete, who still has a chance to come in last for the entire season. If he loses the next 4 weeks.
Well, yeah, he'd lose twice. Yeah, he'd have to lose twice, and if he's the what was it?
If he loses the combination of these next 2 weeks, and then loses the combination of the last 2 weeks, he's the overall loser and gets our fun little necklace that the loser has to wear for the month of February, and it says something ridiculous on it. I'm not going to say it here.
If Pete also ends up losing, right?
You had a side bet with him.
We had a side bet with him where he has to change his or he has to make his name for next season. Pete and his fly trap. All right, fun. Let's go. Let's get to the recap. Lucky number week 13.
I mean, I don't know how lucky. I mean, you beat me, but it's not like either one of us were near the top. Go ahead, start it off since you won.
All right. Yeah. So I also took the hit on Vegas, who decided to underperform, and really rightfully should have lost that game. A lot of people are saying that the Jets threw the game at the very end by rushing the house. I
did warn you about that game before we started.
Yeah. I said I thought it might be a bounce back game. My logic was there. Whatever. Indy did Indy things, right? Like they definitely had an opportunity to pull away and just didn't. Right. Yep. And ultimately Houston came back to kind of close the gap, but not really. Detroit at Chicago. I know you questioned me on this one. Definitely worked out. I mean, not a ton of points, but still a solid showing. They won.
I watched this game and just saw Chicago lose it for themselves. Chicago had Detroit most of the way and let it go in the final quarter, in the final minutes, and couldn't. I mean, even if like Detroit hadn't had one, just to giving you 4 points, 3 points, or whatever, I still think Chicago should have won that game.
Yeah,
at least had the potential. Anyway, go on.
The potential. We were both on New Orleans, so just did not pull. What's another team that like had a lead, had the potential to pull away, and just chose to coast into the final, like, final minutes, right? I think that's a mistake. I think that kills your momentum, and that's how you lose games. I mean, luckily they were playing Atlanta, so there's that. But ultimately,
well, okay, this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Is that New Orleans has the capability of shutting down a team, but when it comes to the times we pick them, they just we're good.
Yeah. And then Green Bay, 5.5, not bad.
Yeah, that definitely could have been worse.
I mean, they did what I expected them to do. I expected it probably one more score out of them. Really, is what I was expecting. This is about what I figured. I would have figured the score to end up being. And
well,
if it got into like the 20s, like if Philly got into the 20s, then I figured Philly would have been like in the 40 something range, right? But still a solid. I had all but one game went positive. So
do you know what the game changer for the Philly game was?
No, I didn't watch it.
I
watched some of it, but not all.
They sat Wentz near the end.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. It was Hurts because they benched Wentz. Wentz isn't even playing this week.
That's what I just said. In that game, they benched Wentz like halfway through the game, and Hurts was the game changer. That's what I was saying. Thank you.
I misunderstood what you were saying then, or I heard differently.
Yeah. Whatever. So yeah, they named Hurts the starting quarterback. They're benching their number one quarterback for the past few years, which I think they should have done a long time ago because honestly I thought Foles was a better quarterback than Wentz was, but again, that's my own personal opinion. Philly coming to play next week with a brand new quarterback and hopefully a brand new scheme. But yeah, you ended the week with 12 positive points, so hats off to you. Tennessee playing like Dallas against Cleveland back in the day.
Whoa, you got lucky that Cleveland let them score as much as they did.
This
margin was so much bigger.
It was negative 37 at one point. I was so pissed. And I was like, why is Tennessee doing this to me? This is Cleveland. There's no way Cleveland's better than Indianapolis, and Indianapolis got destroyed by Tennessee the week prior. I don't know what happened, but I every time they scored, I was just so happy that Cleveland let them score and bring down the spread to a negative 12. And honestly, I wasn't even mad at it for a while because every game here was a morning game. I didn't even mean to do this, but every game here happened between 10 and 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. So as this is all going on, Jacksonville and Cincinnati were both above Minnesota and Miami at the time. So I had like 14 points per one of those teams, so I wasn't even that upset about it because I had my underdogs taking care of it because I knew those two could be close games. And potentially I was right. Cincinnati just couldn't score on Miami's defense after their first one for some reason. I don't know what happened. They just couldn't make it happen. I was hoping for better. I mean, it was 11 points. Anyway, but Jacksonville took it into overtime against Minnesota. I could have had another 6 points out of this easy. The fact that they were that close, I'm not upset with it. With Jacksonville, I'm not upset with what they did. They definitely had the opportunity to do a little better, but it is what it is. Cincinnati, I was hoping for a closer game, at least to cover the spread of 11.5. I thought they could do it. Miami is showing that they're a good team this year, so good on them. Either way, it was just a bad game for me to pick in general just because of the spread. Indianapolis, as you said, was hoping for a better spread there against Houston. And then the Saints, at one point, it was 21-9. And then, like, in the last quarter, they let them score and, screw up the spread just a little bit more, keeping me negative. It is what it is. I'm trying to get it out of my mind. I mean, obviously, 3 weeks ago, I did a lot worse. But I've been progressively getting back to normal, going from negative 41 to negative 20-something to negative 1. I think I'm doing a little better. So I can't be that unhappy. But we need to do a quick comparison because compared to anyone who picked New England. We didn't do that great because New England, I think, is the first one this year to completely shut out a team.
Yeah, I don't think we've had any other shutouts. I think they've at least scored like a field goal or a garbage time touchdown, stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember saying it in our last video that the Chargers have scoring potential, that they could potentially keep it a close game, and boy, were they just willing to prove me wrong. Yeah, what was that? What was that score? Like 45-0?
Something like that. Like 45
Yeah, because
or
I
48
think
to
for sure it's
0.
45-0 because Colin Cowherd, who does his Blazing Five, who we compare ourselves to every week, did amazing this week, just based only because he picked New England. He ended the week, I'm going to start there. He ended the entire week with a positive 48.5, and 44 points of that was from New England. The other 4.5 points were from him picking Cleveland. He got positive 12, and Rams positive 7, but then went the opposite route of you and picked Philly and went negative 5.5, and then went San Francisco and got negative 9 points against Buffalo. And that's a surprising pick. I know San Francisco is a good team. Buffalo's been on it, and technically, from our past experience, since San Francisco's playing at home, but their home team is technically the Cardinals Stadium at this point. They've been known to go to the Cardinals Stadium and absolutely destroy there. You would think they would have done better, but it is what it is. Did you follow that logic? Because
yeah.
I had trouble following it and I was saying it.
I think I got your home team, not home team. San Francisco likes Arizona. Buffalo really hates the fact that they lost in Arizona, so they redeemed themselves by beating the home team that wasn't Arizona in Arizona.
Yeah. It's all kinds of a twist. But anyway, that brings Colin Cowherd's total for the season to a 25.5, which points overall for the season, which I think trumps us both because I'm still ahead of you in points in general, and I'm at 17.
I'm at 10 on the season.
Yeah, so he's technically doing better than us as far as points go. But anyone who would pick New England, I think. Well, just looking at the top 5 here, top 5 that we play with, cover 5 play with 9 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, the top 18 people picked New England.
Yeah. You had to be on New England.
You needed New England to do anything this week. The top 18 people. I was expecting to go to like 10. I was surprised you let me keep counting.
Whatever.
Either way, expecting to go to 18.
But with this week's win, that brings us 1 game closer. I'm only 1 game behind you right now.
Yep.
Back up from what? I was down 4.
Yeah.
Right? I was 4 games behind.
I was also. You've had a good win streak. I've had a good win streak. You've podiumed. I've been close to podium. We both still need 2 wins to put a cap on the season out of the next 3 games. So it could come down to the wire. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last year, which is let you make my final week's picks for me. If we get to that.
You don't want to do that. I think we should do that. If we end up going into the last week on a tie, the winner of the previous week gets to pick.
You really don't listen to me, do you? I just said I'm not going to let you do this again. No. I say no. I'm playing I had a chance to win, and I got arrogant with my he'll whatever, and I'll end up positive. Which, I mean, for that year made sense because you were more negative than you were positive, so it could have happened with a weird upset. But no, not again. If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna do it because it was my choice to lose.
All right. Fair enough. All right, so moving in to week 14. We'll go ahead and I'll let you start since we actually have completely different picks. I think this is the first week where we have no overlapping picks.
In 2 years. I mean, usually there's at least one that we've taken together.
Yeah.
At least I can't recall. Anyone who actually watches these and goes through them, they can go through and look at it, but I'm sure it's not going to. So I picked Miami against Kansas City because Miami has a really good defense. We've seen it with the Rams, who have been doing pretty well. They definitely had the potential to keep this a close game, and I honestly think they have a chance to actually win, especially at home. Cincinnati, Dallas does good on the road. I'm not entirely sold on this game, especially with the spread only being 3.5. I mean, Dallas, as we know, doesn't have a great defense there. Their offense is getting better. Cincinnati didn't do that well against Miami last week, but again, Miami's defense is better. So that my first thought on this was, yeah, maybe. I finally went on the opposite direction of Vegas, and okay, I pick one similar games, but we're on the different sides of it. Anyway, I got something shiny. Indianapolis against Vegas. Indianapolis has been doing well. They have the firepower on offense. They have a good defense. Vegas needs to get their stuff together. I think I may keep this pick because it's I don't know if they're gonna bring it back. I don't it's hard to know what's going on. I might have to check a couple injury reports to see what's happening, but we'll see. San Francisco against Washington. San Francisco is a really good team. Washington got lucky last week, and I think I think San Francisco has a better running game than Snell, and if as long as they can catch the football, Ayuk, then they should be fine. Because I unfortunately didn't get to watch last week's game because it was in the middle of the day, and ESPN wouldn't give it to me on my phone. But I heard that Pittsburgh had a problem catching the ball, and which is what caused them the loss. So, maybe they'll fix that for you next week from what I'm looking at there. And then Cleveland against Baltimore. Cleveland has shown that they're in the hunt. They know they need to keep a win. So I'm wondering if they'll try even harder. Baltimore, I think was Lamar Jackson back last week too?
Yes.
Yeah. So Baltimore is a little beat up. I don't even watch that game on Tuesday. Did they win?
Yes.
Okay.
They ended up pulling away. They beat Dallas.
The
game was really close. Was actually close for 2.5 quarters, and then Baltimore pulled away.
Yeah, I think Cleveland has a chance to beat up on Baltimore, and I think I'm gonna. That's so honestly, as of right now, my underdog picks are pretty risky. Although I may change one of them, but I'm thinking of keeping two of them. I mean, the Baltimore game's only a -1 difference, but points are points. Anyway, go ahead, go for it.
I think just before we move to my picks, I look at that like Cleveland as a home dog against a division rival. Like I was looking at that one too, and it doesn't smell. Something doesn't smell right with that one, right? Like,
well, I'm hoping you're smelling all the points I'm gonna get, and it doesn't smell right to you. That's what I'm hoping for.
All right. So, like you said, we don't have the same picks. We are picking on the same games, but we are on opposite sides on the San Francisco and the footballs, right? I don't think this is necessarily I'm not riding the hype that with the footballs win that makes them a better team than they are, but their defense, their front seven there, are really good. They'll be able to stop the run, right? And they should be able to get to Nick Mullins. And I think that's the factor, right? If they can get to Mullins, they can stop them from really being able to get to their receivers like Debo and Ayuk, right? Kittle, I believe Kittle's still going to be out, so they don't have to worry about Kittle, right? So
Right.
They'll be able to cover Ayuk and Debo and get to the quarterback. I think that's really what it comes down to. I'm not expecting this to be some sort of blowout. I really it's I'm expecting it to be somewhat close. Maybe Washington pulls away by a touchdown and I get the points plus a touchdown or a field goal or two.
Their backup tight end isn't that bad either though.
No, he's not at all. On that, and Washington needs the win still. They are technically leading the NFC East. They still need the win, and San Francisco. I don't believe San Francisco is in the wild card hunt anymore. I think they're mathematically eliminated.
San Francisco's out of the hunt.
For wild card spot.
That may definitely affect my decision. I don't know.
I don't
didn't
know.
see
I'll have to
that.
look at it. I was thinking that, and that's what I was thinking in this pick, looking at like where they sit in the NFC West, because they're behind the Rams and they're behind the Rams, the Seahawks, and Arizona, right? They should be behind all three of them.
Yeah, they're last in their. Yeah, they are last in their division with a 5-7 division card. Um, Seahawks and Rams are both fighting for their top division spots still, so they both can't afford a loss there.
And
Which which makes me curious about tonight's game, even, which is going on right now that we can't pick anymore.
Not that I don't pick Thursday night.
Well, yeah. Well, is it New England and the Rams? New England is 6-6, so the Rams may have been a good pick for the night. Oh my God, Jets! That's so sad. Anyway,
what's sad with the Jets, other than the fact that they're a 13.5-point dog?
They're the only team right now that has a 0 in their score.
Okay. We'll get to that. Either way.
Except for the Saints that have a 1 next to their 0, for 10.
Anyway, all right. So moving on. Speaking of the Saints, I know they're traveling to Philly. I know Philly has named a new starting quarterback with Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to be starting, which could be problematic to a certain extent because anytime they don't have a whole lot of film on Jalen Hurts, but at the same time, he didn't necessarily he's still a rookie and he made some rookie mistakes. I think New Orleans defense is can definitely capitalize on that, and I believe Miles Sanders is going to be out.
Just a quick update: Jared Goff just did a quarterback sneak for the Rams' first touchdown on a 4th and goal.
Oh. Live updates, thank you.
Live updates. Yeah. 11 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first quarter. Anyway, go on. By the time this airs, the game will be over. It doesn't matter. There aren't any spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. I don't know who watches the game later.
Either way, and I think Taysom Hill, especially since it looks like Drew Brees is on the road to recovery. I think he needs to prove some things still. So I feel like they're going to really try to take it to him. I think they're going to get Kamara involved more. I don't think Philly's defense is going to be able to keep up at that point. So I see something similar, right? Like something similar to last week where New Orleans would go up 21, it'd be up 21-9, something like that, or
and then let them score and then
let them score, and then they'll let them score, and then New Orleans will go that's too close. They'll go up by 2 scores, and then I'll get 2 to 5 points out of them. But or depending if Philly implodes, which is entirely possible. This could be a really big game. I think there's upside. I think there isn't that much risk even with the touchdown.
I like your next pick though.
Chargers at home against Atlanta. Atlanta losing to New Orleans and then having to travel. Losing to New Orleans at home and then having to travel. Atlanta doesn't typically travel well. And the Chargers, after getting just decimated by New England, are going to be hungry for that win.
They kind of need to prove themselves in that game. Yeah,
so I think I'm looking at this as a bounce back game for the Chargers. The Chargers are definitely better than the game that they played against New England, and Atlanta isn't. Atlanta is still Atlanta, right?
Right.
So take the points and be on the Los Angeles Superchargers there. Green Bay at Detroit. Green Bay just loves to beat up on Detroit. That's really all that is. That's all that needs to be said. And Green Bay is, from what I understand, as far as I've read or been paying attention to, Green Bay's healthy. So there's really – and they may or may not – Detroit may or may not get DeAndre Swift back or might, start him.
Peterson did really well last week.
Yeah, he did well. I think this is just Green Bay likes to whoop up on Detroit. I don't think Detroit necessarily keeps up with Green Bay's offense, and I don't think they're going to be able to stop Aaron Jones. So that's that. And then my last pick is the Sunday night game, taking the Steelers at Buffalo. Even though Buffalo is on a roll, the Steelers like to play well against good teams and they like to play badly against bad teams. So I'm hoping they continue with that trend and they play really well against Buffalo. Buffalo definitely has chinks in their armor. for sure, and Pittsburgh can definitely exploit those. Exploit that.
Also, Pittsburgh does like to win by a small margin, and them being the underdog is usually the best bet for some decent points out of that. I mean, that's definitely a tough game to call because so they're both really good teams, especially this season. But Pittsburgh losing against Washington last week, that was heartbreaking. I did say a few weeks ago that I didn't think Pittsburgh would go undefeated for the season, but I definitely didn't think Washington was going to be the one to take their winning streak away from them.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Now that they have the one loss, there's no pressure anymore. There's no pressure. Nobody's talking about the undefeated season. Nobody's thinking about that. All they need to do is concentrate on this next week and keep going.
I saw this little video of the last seconds of the game, and I'm pretty sure it was the old Miami coach. He had the game on behind him, just taking a sip of his drink, and said something, and the caption said something snarky like "we all can't go undefeated" or something like that.
Oh, that's good.
It was good. It was good. It was still funny. I have to be able to appreciate good jokes even if they're against my team.
The only other game I'm looking at, and as far as might switch out for, is Carolina at home against. Why am I drawing a blank? Who are they at home against?
Denver.
They're home against Denver. That's right.
There's no spread for it yet, so neither one of us could pick it.
There's no spread in cover 5 as of right now. Vegas has it Carolina -3.5 at home.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
I might switch out, even though I still do think that Pittsburgh, it might, has the upside and potential to come in and really beat up on Buffalo. I don't think the Buffalo could be able to get away with the same things that they did against the Niners. I think Pittsburgh will play those defensive schemes a lot better. I might switch to the Carolina game.
If Carolina comes out at 3.5, I might switch either my Miami or San Francisco bet out for that one.
Yeah, if they come out, if it ends up moving, if the line ends up moving down for whatever reason, if it's less than a field goal, I think I'd definitely on Carolina at that point.
Time will tell. Should we get into our big news?
All right, big news of the week. All right, so we can start with the first. Obviously, we've already talked about it. Pittsburgh are undefeated, goes down.
Yeah, our last team that was undefeated goes down by Washington, but we still have one Owen, the Jets, not letting us down for sure, wanting to join the rankings of the Lions and Cleveland of going with a completely winless season. Honestly, I hope they get a win. I really do hope they get a win because they've had so many close games. They're not only getting 3 points. They've lost by 3 and been in the upper 20s as far as scoring goes. They have the potential, but it's just not quite there.
I don't think it's going to be even with I don't think it's going to be this week against the Seahawks. I had that picked for a minute just because it was such a large spread, but I'm not on that. I might pick the Jets down the stretch, depending upon how some of the other games, because if they get the number 1 overall draft pick locked up, if they're in a position where they, no matter if they win, lose, or draw, they still get the number 1 overall pick. I think that'll be the time which that they can that they'll actually pull out a win. So I'll be keeping an eye on that and keeping an eye on the spread.
Well, what's kind of funny about that, Jacksonville is actually is their only real competitor that I saw so far. Because they're
Cincy's in the. I thought Cincy was in the run.
Jacksonville's a 1-12 team right now.
Okay.
I think Cincy's above that from what I remember.
Yeah, but I think there's still enough. If they were
Cincinnati's 2-9-1.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's 1-11. I guess 1-11 at 1-12 because of the bye week. So yeah.
But there's a couple that are still in there. So if those two teams get some wins instead of starting to pull away where it doesn't matter,
As far as lowest wins from each division, 5, 4, 5, 3, 3. Jacksonville's got the 1. Bengals got the 2. Jets have 0, and yeah, so we have a 2 and 1 and a 3 with the Chargers. Really, Chargers are that bad right now, huh?
Yeah, their record does not reflect their talent by any means. But
it doesn't seem like it. It does seem like they've been doing better for some reason to me.
And then we have Des Bryant test positive for COVID, yeah. And ends up out of the Tuesday night game. Not that it mattered, but and rumor was circulated. He said that based on his positive test that he would just sit out the rest of the season.
I mean, yeah, I can imagine he doesn't want to play for this team at the moment. Just how terrible. Like Ravens did really well last year, and they did decently at the beginning of the season, but they're not the same Ravens anymore for some reason. Like they need to get something put back together. I don't know if they lost their defense or lost their offensive line, or the fact that Lamar Jackson likes to do everything himself. Like the best running back on the Ravens is Lamar Jackson. Like you can't pick him. I think I said it. If I said it last week, I'll say it next week too. You can't pick anybody on the Ravens team unless it's Lamar Jackson because he doesn't get the ball to anybody else.
Yep. And that's not a winning formula by any means.
No, the quarterback can't do it himself. The quarterback can get hurt by himself, sure. We'll watch it happen.
Yeah, but ask Kyler Murray.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Lamar Jackson's a little bigger, a little bit more durable than Kyler Murray. So,
well, now if he keeps this up.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's really it as far as news. So we're coming into the downhill slide of the season. Not a whole lot going.
We have our little challenge to ourselves, don't we?
Yes. So I don't think we mentioned this last week because this is really when it happened. I think we did, but I think we briefly mentioned it and said we were going to talk about it later, and then forgot about it.
I remember going into a decent discussion about it. If it was on or off camera, I don't remember. I just remember we did discuss it pretty well between the two of us.
Yeah, we definitely did it off camera for sure. I just don't remember on camera. So talking about Vanderbilt letting a girl at the kickoff. And then magically, for existing, she was.
Can you say that again without sounding misogynistic?
No, I can't. I've tried. I can't because she was just magically gifted special teams player of the week. I mean, if it was Special Olympics player of the week, that would probably be a little bit more fitting. Well, she kicked it 30 yards. I'm all for it. Like, no. Don't get me wrong. If she's qualified and she can do it, I'm all for it. I don't care. Bring her in, let her kick. But the fact that, like, she only kicked it 30 yards, that is not college-level caliber kicker, right? Not even close.
Unless it was the plan. I don't know. Yeah.
So, it's not even close. And now there's, like, rumor that the other players on the sidelines were, like, because they were so proud of the moment and the wokeness that they were crying on the sidelines. No, they were, like, if they were crying because they were on that team. Period.
I heard other rumors that players didn't want to keep going if they were turning this into a publicity stunt. If the school, like players didn't want it to play games just because they're making their team a publicity stunt for whatever reason. I mean, I get it. Like as you said, if she's well qualified to play, then sure. And I'm only saying this part because I heard it on the radio. Like they were comparing it to breaking boundaries like Jackie Robinson did with baseball. Jackie Robinson could play.
That's an insult.
He could play a game.
That's an insult. It's an straight up insult.
Yeah. I'm all for breaking barriers and moving forward and whatever. But like I said, they need to be able to play. They need to be able to do the job and beat out other people and to get the position. That's what it is. That's how everyone else gets their jobs, gets their position rankings or whatever. They beat somebody else. I'm just wondering, did she beat out somebody else for that job or for that position? I want to know. Like, I don't know if she did or didn't. I don't know.
No,
maybe she was the best option.
They just put her in there because they hadn't scored yet. Like the game ended with them scoreless.
She did this one kick at like the end of the game.
I think it was halftime. I think it was at the half.
Oh my God.
But they were scoreless. Yeah, they were scoreless. She had the second half kickoff. I think that's all she kicked. I don't think she kicked again. I'm not sure if she kicked again after that or not. Like that's the only one that I heard about. And then I know that the game ended scoreless for Vanderbilt.
I'm by no means saying that I can kick 30 yards. I don't know if I could or not. I haven't practiced. I don't know. But like when you start doing things as either a school or a person or whatever to show that you're cooperating with the times you live in where everyone's babying each other, I don't agree with you. I'm tired of it. I really am. I'm tired of everyone being offended and whatever. Like I understand respecting one another, but there's a limit. There's a limit, and we've crossed the line as a society.
Sure. I can't take credit for this. I heard it from someone else, and I don't remember who to give credit to. But we could he refers to it as the woking dead.
Nice.
Because because they have to express how woke and progressive they are, but they're so tone deaf and oblivious to the fact that it's just absolutely ridiculous and it does nothing. It's not actually productive in any manner. And it actually takes away from those who actually try. Like, I think it actually is, it's negative. Doing those types of things, it negatively impacts those who actually work for it.
It's the mindset of, I can get the same trophy he's going to get, and I don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
So they stop trying.
Yeah, you're not breaking barriers by being handed something no. That's not what it is.
I think by that, just by looking at it, like I'm imagining a evolutionary time chart of humanity going up because we're constantly trying to beat each other. But now that everyone's allowed to get to the same level, it's just going to stagger off and get lower and lower because nobody cares anymore. Yep. So we're no longer trying to beat each other. We're no longer trying to improve each other. We have to accept everyone when everyone shouldn't be accepted. I'm sorry. I'll say it. Everyone should not be accepted. Like that's life. Welcome to life.
So to show, I actually want to show in comparison. Like I said, like you said, you wanted to see if she beat out anybody or if she was like par for the course, right? So this is for the future. We're laying it for the future. So over
in December, we'll do this in December. Hopefully, we'll have an episode in January where we'll show it.
We're in December, right? Well, we have the Super Bowl episode regardless, right?
Right.
No matter what, and we'll have a postseason wrap up episode. So we'll post it on the postseason wrap up episode. So you're coming out for the holidays out to Arizona. So we're gonna grab a football. We'll grab a regulation size football to make sure that we're on par with that. Not anything not a wiffle ball or something like it's a Nerf football.
Yeah, you said you didn't want to go Nerf.
Go Nerf. But either way, we'll find out. We'll take a regulation football. We're going to do two things. First and foremost, we're going to do the kickoff and see if the Bald and Beardiful can outkick the lady Vanderbilt's kicker.
And just for total fairness, she's probably had training. We've had no training. Men to women, doesn't matter. She's had more skill training than we have.
She is a soccer player, though. I hear my understanding
even better.
She's a soccer player. She's on a scholarship. She's a good soccer player. Like, I'm sure she's a great soccer player.
I guess it should be a little more clear that we're not bashing her in general. We're bashing the people who chose to put her in this position.
Yeah, make her a spectacle. They're making her a spectacle is really what it is. But either way, like I said, I want to see if with no training whatsoever, just in general, my out of shape, pear shaped, can boot it more than 30 yards.
Yeah, and
from a kickoff.
I'll do the same. I'm definitely not as pear-shaped as some of us, but I like to think I really hope I can. And honestly, even if it even gets to the same distance, I would still count that as a win.
Well, if we could do that, we're you said we're not.
That honestly, that would almost prove that they went. Let's grab you and put you over there.
I kind of want to let's put the recording together and send in letters to Vanderbilt to see if we can get scholarships.
I'll go back to school. Why not, right?
And then after we'll go through that, and then we decided we're going to do a kick, punt, pass.
Yeah, I think just because this hyped up a challenge for me, we can do a throw, punt, and kick challenge, which I've seen it happen at the Arizona stadium. I don't remember exactly where they started. I don't remember if they started at the back or the front of the end zone, but you You throw the football wherever it lands. You punt it wherever it lands. You do a kick and try to get it through the uprights. And I mean, we can either do through the uprights or even just whoever got the furthest. Whatever the bet is, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, we'll figure something out as some sort of. Actually, what we should do is we should grade it by each. Like, okay, so if
you want to do them separately,
yeah. So no, so like each segment, right? We'll mark off and see where we were. So who threw it farther, who punched it farther, and then if by some miracle we managed to actually kick the field goal. We'll see from there. And or actually, if let's say we both end up making the field goal, we can do like a field goal kickoff, whatever. We can start like at like 20 yards out and then back.
Yeah, you're getting way ahead of your own skills.
Yeah, probably. Contingencies. One can dream. One can dream of being that special girl to.
Oh, so this is how you get your long hair is because of the beard. Okay. The only reason either one of us have hair lower than our shoulders is because it hangs off of our chin.
It's true. It's very true. All right.
You ready to take us out of here?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. It's been real. It's been fun.
It's been really fun for me.
All right, folks out there on the interwebs. Find us on Facebook, The Bald and Beardiful. Email us at theballandbeardiful@gmail.com. Email us your hopes, your dreams, your constructive criticisms. Smash that like button multiple times, like voting in any one of the swing states. You can
just make sure it's an odd number, because I think you can unlike it if you hit it an even number of times. I'm just saying.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when all of our shenanigans come out. So until next week, same ball time, same Beardiful channel. Good night, everybody.
Next week, guys.